Okay, bodybuilder in Thailand.com. Going to be going over some comments from the YouTube videos and answering those comments. Anything that has to do with any chemicals or substances and anything about that. This is not advice, and it's just entertainment and education only. So don't take any advice from this video. All right, Ahmed Jado says about D-ball. It actually had the same negative sexual effect on me when I was on it, but things got even more serious after stopping Clomid and Nolvadex. Did not help that much. And now it is about a year since I quit D-ball. Still feel a negative sexual effect. Any recommendations? Okay, Ahmed. Generally, when somebody has extended like sexual dysfunction from anabolics, generally what has been the protocol has been HCG. HCG is like if nothing else works, then they say throw in HCG, and usually that does help. HCG can help with sex drive because it is an adrenal hormone, and those adrenal hormones are responsible for the production of intermediate hormones like androstenedione, androstenediol, and other intermediate dehydroepiandrosterone, which are precursors to testosterone, where you normally aren't going to be having those in your body anymore if you're injecting exogenous testosterone. So sometimes fucked up sex drive can be a result of not having those intermediate hormones in your body if you're sensitive to that, in which case taking HCG can help you out. If that isn't working, then it's always possible that you have leftover high prolactin and that there's a negative feedback loop going that's keeping it high. And high prolactin will completely, if you're sensitive to it, it will completely abolish a man's sex drive and sexual ability, really. It will basically castrate you as long as the prolactin levels are high. So pramipexole and cabergoline are the general dopamine agonists that lower prolactin levels. All right. Clenbuterol effects. CK Go says bad cramps. Yeah, cramps are an effect of clenbuterol. That's a side effect. Cat Salad says, hey mate, have you tried Clen? If so, what's your experience with it compared to EC Stack? Yeah, I've tried Clen. I think clenbuterol is a super good fat burner. It's definitely more effective than EC Stack, and I mean it's way stronger. It's Clen. If I start Clen and I'm using a lot of caffeine, like maybe I'm taking 500 milligrams of caffeine per day, drinking like 3 black coffees per day. Well, when I start clenbuterol, it will stimulate me so much that I won't even want to drink that coffee anymore, and I won't notice coming off of it. So I will have, like, even taking a high dosage of caffeine like that, it's like I'll just stop because I don't want it anymore because I'm so stimulated from the clenbuterol. So it's really potent just all by itself, and it burns fat better than EC Stack does. And for me too, I get a really suppressed appetite from it too. It basically does everything for me that EC Stack does, except it does it better, and it has a lot more side effects. Because for me, Clen definitely has side effects. I mean, yeah, it has a ton of side effects, but it's a really effective fat burner. I have a video on clenbuterol, what it does for me. So if you're interested in what all those side effects are, without me taking a bunch of time to explain it, check that video out. Johan244 says, those were some clean ass barbell rows. Thanks, bro. I really like barbell rows. I think it's the best exercise for building your back. And Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman, big fans of barbell rows, and I really like the way that you can just. I basically, when I do my barbell rows, I'm like pulling like this. I'm like, it's like, but I pull like with this motion first instead of like pulling the weight with my arms. I actually initiate the movement by going like this and pulling like all of my back muscles back together. So it's like, you know, when you do bench press and you stick your chest out like this, and like that's the first part of the motion, right? You know, like having your chest at the highest point. When I do barbell rows, what I do is I try to get my back, and the first of the motion, I try to get my back pulled to the highest point, and then I follow with the arms and the weight. So it's like that, like really pulling with that back, and I try to like slam the bar into my hip bones, so that I think it really hits the entire back that way. The lower lats, the lats, the pillars, spinal erectors on either side of your spine, and the lower traps, upper traps, rear delts. It's the shit. And it's probably my strongest exercise as well. So I really like it. I really enjoy it. It's fun to do it. Fun to deadlift, fun to barbell row, fun to bench press, fun to squat, and yeah, those are my favorite exercises. Dookie Talk says, it's hard for me to sleep on trend. Been doing acetate 100 milligrams every day for 2 months, and the strength is amazing. I'm sure it is. I'm sure the strength is amazing. That's a really high dosage. And when you're taking a dosage that high, that's probably affecting your entire system really strongly. The way, you know, everything, the way you process food, the way that you sleep, the way that you go about your day. That's a really powerful hormone. And if you're taking 100 milligrams of it every day, that's going to be having an effect probably on everything you do in your life. All right. Adelison 335 says on my Rambo video, he said, Children of Bodom. Yeah, I love Children of Bodom. They're my favorite heavy metal band. For Fabian Faster Escamilla, he says, I'm 36 years old and leaning out. Has been a problem. And I'm looking at Chosen One, which is 1-testosterone prohormone by Blackstone Labs, and Eradicate for a cycle. So does this stuff help lean out below 15% body fat with a meal plan of 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat? Hi Fabian. Yeah, it is good for that. It's a dry prohormone, 1-testosterone. It's really strong. It's the same. So Chosen One is 1-DHEA, which is one step away from 1-andro. And 1-andro is the prohormone that Mark McGuire took that kind of popularized, performance-enhancing drugs are being used in baseball. Because a reporter saw 1-andro in his locker and took a picture of it. And 1-andro turns into 1-testosterone. So what you're taking is one step away from that, the Chosen One. It's 1-DHEA, which turns into 1-andro, which is what Mark McGuire used, which turns into 1-testosterone, okay? And 1-testosterone is a super powerful anabolic, actually. It's available, it's like black market, it's sold as an injectable, and it's a very strong steroid. And people that were using 1-andro back when it was legal experienced extreme gains off of it. So obviously with prohormones, it's a matter of how much are you getting converted. So the more you take, the more effect you're going to have, and the more your body is efficient at converting it, which really just has to do with your genetics, how much effect you're going to have. Will it help you lean out? Well, it can't convert to any estrogen, so you will get your muscles, while you're on it, will get a cosmetic effect of becoming more full and round, and your skin will probably get a bit thinner as those muscles are pushing against the skin. You won't add any water weight to your skin, so you won't look bloated at all. I mean, just taking the tablets is probably going to make you look a little bit leaner because of having the increased muscle pressing against your skin, the increased like roundness and shit. As far as helping you lean out, I mean, yeah, it will affect the way that your body processes food and make more of the food go to building muscle and less of the food to adding fat. But you should definitely, along with the diet, don't try not to eat any sugar, and then make sure that you do 45 minutes of cardio every day. and you can just make sure that you know, a light sweat for 45 minutes every day. So if that's walking up a hill in your neighborhood for 45 minutes, that's good enough. You don't need to do extreme cardio, but you really do need to add in some cardio, or else you can't really rely on performance enhancing drugs or hormone steroids to help you like burn fat too much. They're mostly for building muscle. Steroids, they help you a little bit with burning fat, but they're mostly for building muscle or maintaining muscle while you lose weight. All right, next question. Michael Hilton says, "Hi mate, going to try Aromasin. If my gyno shrinks or goes away, what do I do to make sure it doesn't come back?" Yeah, so if you try Aromasin, I mean, it's most likely going to shrink the size of your gyno because the estrogen receptors in that breast tissue that you've developed are going to be starved of the hormone that they live on. They need it to live. So it'll probably definitely shrink it. Will it make it go away? It depends. It depends on how set in it is. If the tissue is really fibrous and hard, then I mean there's a lower chance of that, but it's probably going to shrink it. As far as making sure it doesn't come back, well, if you ever do a prohormone and a steroid cycle, make sure that you are using an aromatase inhibitor so you don't get high estrogen again. If not, you shouldn't really need to do anything unless you genetically have high estrogen, in which case you should go to your doctor and get prescribed an AI permanently, because that's what doctors are there for. If you have a problem where you just naturally have too high of estrogen, which is the only reason it would come back, then you should go to your doctor and get prescribed aromatase inhibitor. Keep your estrogen down because it's not healthy, and having high estrogen will make your prostate blow up, increase your chances of prostate cancer. So, yeah. Noor Yamoni says, "Thank you for this video. Just want to ask if erection come again when use HCG. It'll help with that. If you're shut down after a cycle or something, taking HCG will turn your reproductive system back on." Oh yeah. Jeff Lewis says, "Honest question and no disrespect. You're leaner than your face would lead us to believe. Is that something genetic, or have steroids changed that?" Steroids have made my face more muscular. If you notice, you see there's muscle in the side of my face, and like also there's muscles all over your cheeks and shit too. So like my whole face is a little bit thicker. Like all of the tissue on my face is just slightly thicker because there's muscle all over your face, and it all grew a little bit from taking gear. As far as I'm really sensitive to water retention in my face from gear as well, and gear has increased mineral absorption, so you retain more of just everything. Even if your estrogen isn't high, you still retain more of just everything, all the different minerals and stuff, which also draw in water and attract water when you're on gear. So you'll see this on a lot of guys. Like you'll see a lot of guys that are like ripped, like shredded, but they have like kind of like puffy faces, or like they call it like chipmunk face, like that Tiger Fitness dude, Mark Lobliner. He has zero body fat. But if you look at his face, it's like way out, because he takes shit, and it makes his face retain a lot of water. Same thing with Tony Huge from Enhanced Athlete. If you notice, he's got a round looking face. It's kind of comes with the territory. If you're using testosterone or other aromatizing anabolics, or just really any anabolics, if they're not the kind of anabolics that make you shed water, it can make your face just look a bit puffy. So that's a side effect from using dosages too that aren't really low. Like if you use a dosage that is like maybe 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, probably wouldn't be having that problem. But I usually am taking more than that. I'm usually taking 350 to 700 milligrams of testosterone per week. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to do for today. I will catch you guys again soon. Thanks for your comments. And go ahead and do more comments so I can answer your questions. All right, this is Dan from bodybuilderinthailand.com.